Hi, we're going to present our final project. The team is confirmed by Samuel Chavez, Manuel Serna, and Michelle Medina. We're going to talk about the culture Aguacatecos, one of the culture that is about to disappear along with its tradition. So let's start. They have original settlements in Guatemala, but they arrived to Mexico more than 10 years ago. And nowadays we can find some about them in Chiapas, Veracruz, and Campeche. These regions actually are conformed by some different cultures, and this is because they are not too much people. The original speakers that we can find in this culture are just 23, according to a study from the INEGI that was made actually more than 10 years ago, so it's hard to know if there are less or more people that belong to this culture.
Well, we are going to talk something about the language of this culture. First of all, the type of script that they use is they use the kind of the script that Spanish uses. So the the structure of their words or sentences will be um, most of the times similar that we use. Some interesting points, so it could be the age of the language, that it has more than 10 years. So it could be considered something like a new language, for it could be. Some examples of the vocabulary could be some words, for example, the word hello, they said catch. Another example could be the sentence I love you. They said laika nachimpek saweh. For example, welcome. It could be balahulan. And to be thankful, it could be to say kioks. And for example, to say good morning, it could be they use the word balaj balajachan. Then we have the cultural aspects. For example, the aguacateco or kio, that it could be as known for of these names. This is a language that belongs to the Mayan family. So the closest language in genetic terms in Ixil. So this culture has most of the things similar that the Mayan culture.
So the first example that we have here is cultural appropriation, that we can explain it very easy with the clothes they usually use. And it's important to mention that they have been losing their traditional clothes due to the loss of meaning for cultural appropriation for people outside. We can see here in this example a model that is using clothes similar to aguacatecos. The first thing we can identify is that the shirt is totally different as the aguacatecos usually use. First of all, they modify the length from the skirt that is very disrespectful. Also, they use it for a runway, which means for them it was just a model trend without any meaning, with the thinking they represent Mexico, which is false. For the second example, we can see the appreciation from other cultures, and it's very common to see that other similar cultures practice some of the Aguacatecos traditions, like to the candles when they are celebrating the planting. So it's easy to know that is appreciation due to the thing that most of the cultures they are dedicated to this. So they usually share these traditions with the same value, and it's very symbolic for them as well with clothes, food, and something very special is that they bury stones to protect their newborns, and it's something that other cultures do as well, but adding the cordon umbilical, but also this is with the same respect, the same value, and it's something that Aguacatecos share with them.
Well, we're going to talk something about another topics of this kind of culture. For example, one of the sacred items for this culture and the importance of this are the Ser Supremo or the La Virgen de la Encarnación. Those ones that are the stones of a newborns. For example, this has the importance of this kind of status have the importance in this culture because they are for the newborn, so they are lucky for the children, and also the candelas that are used for the sewing. What will happen if someone from outside of this culture use this item? Well, probably it will be something very disrespectful for this culture, as if someone hate this culture for the Ser Supremo and the Virgen de la Encarnación, because they are symbolic, because they belong for the religion. Continue with the continue talking about the cultural appropriation. We have not heard about it specifically this term, but it's easy to understand the word appropriation, which means that something that doesn't not belong to you. For example, here in Mexico, I think if we appropriate some parts of different cultures around the world, because the in Mexico City there are the Chinese street, maybe the Italian street. So there will be some examples for cultural appropriation here in Mexico in general. Talking about the cultural appropriation, this refers to the use of objects or elements of a non-dominant culture in a way that doesn't respect their original meaning, giving credit to their source or reinforces stereotypes or contributes the appropriation.
And well, this question says, how cultural appropriation it contributes to loss of cultural meaning? Well, symbolic items or traditions start to lose their value do nobody outside do the things with the respect as the people from the culture. So this basically means that if they are not from that culture, it is going to be really difficult to understand the real meaning or the real situation that represents to the culture. Then we have the Western colonization on cultures. Well, Western colonialism has damaged and erased language all across the world. In Africa, Latin America, Ireland, and many other places, people have had their cultures stripped from them in their own land. Second, we have that some of the negative impacts that are associated with colonization include the degradation of natural resources, capitalist urbanization, introduction of foreign diseases to livestock and humans. We can see this exact same pattern in many countries that were colonized. Then we have that not everything is bad. As an example of this, the colonial governments introduced improved medical care and better methods of sanitation. There were new crops, tools, and farming methods, which helped increasing the food production. And last but not least, as Europeans established their colonies, their societies also became segmented and divided along religious and racial lines. The religion is something really important that we can see again in many countries that were colonized. Then we have, what is the difference between cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation? Well, in appreciation for a different culture involves that we can be part of something, and share some of the traditions, but that is it. We don't want to steal or make fun of it. Instead of treat disrespectful without any value to some culture. So that's the difference between those. Then we have, how can we know if the participation in another cultural custom is not cultural appropriation? Well, this depends of many factors, but though sometimes there is a line that we need to understand of respect about the traditions, if we are understanding them in what is the purpose that we are in that culture. Then finally, an immigrant in Canada learning a local indigenous language is cultural appropriation or cultural appreciation? Well, in this case, it will be appreciation because this immigrant is not trying to steal the language and use it in their own benefit. Instead, he is trying to learn in order to share it to other people and with the amount of respect that is necessary. Also, the immigrant is not only learning about the language itself, it is learning about the culture. What is the origin of that language? Why is that language? Who talks that language? So that's some of the things that are important in order to difference of the appreciation and the appropriation. What is the purpose and why is someone trying to be in that culture?